Tony, you can't full clip.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is MC Motorsports broadcasting live from Nashville Superspeedway for the Worldwide Racing League Truck Series here in week 12 of their season, Dash for Cash race number 2. I'm Jonathan Casebeer, and alongside me is Michael Matta. matter. We got about 3.5 minutes left in practice. Just under 20 trucks set in lap times so far. And we're going to have a night race here.
Yeah, night race means a lot of grip in these trucks. Nashville has a lot of grip in it, especially at night. It really is a long run track with tire wear.
And from the information we've gathered so far, we've got about 35 laps to a tank of fuel, 100 laps set on the schedule. So it should be hopefully pretty simple if it goes green for these drivers to make it. But we could see some different tire strategies playing around if the yellow flags start flying.
Yeah, I don't really think it's as much about tire wear as it is just tire heat. So I think if you save your tires nicely but they get overheated, I think you'll be able to cool them down nice enough that you might not have to take tires.
As we scan through the field, we do see Jonathan Cofield showing up once again, continuing to keep his playoff hopes alive, currently atop the board with a 29.65. He, once again, will point out, has to make every race from when he started until the regular season ends to qualify. Key names currently missing from the list. We're not seeing the 6 of Tyler Johnson out there currently. It's been a couple weeks since we've seen that driver.
Yeah, he's hasn't been here, but he is technically locked in playoffs. I don't know how many races he can miss, but they're starting to add up.
As this is the second Dash for Cash race, I'll pull up those Dash for Cash standings after the first race back at Kansas. Tyler Johnson, missing from tonight's field, was the highest finisher out of them for that race, has the points lead, took home $25 that night, but does not appear that there's going to be a chase to win the overall out of the driver of the 6. Keith Ayers was the second highest finisher there. He got 7 points. Jeffrey Smith, Javier Zapata, Kevin Stanley, Reginald Harris, Will Moore, and Anthony Camarada were the rest of the order. So 2 races remaining. Still $50 up for grabs between those 2 races, and then $100 for the points total winner.
Yeah, with Tyler Johnson missing tonight, I mean, that I'd have to think that's just going to take him out of contention for the points battle, with it being only, was it 3 or 4 races?
Yeah, tonight is 2 of 3, the third one being Lime Rock, 3 weeks away from now. I would assume the only hope left for Tyler Johnson would be to come back and be the highest finisher at Lime Rock and hope that nobody was consistent enough to score more than 16.
Yeah, I think you pretty much have to win Lime Rock and everyone else do, I mean, pretty bad tonight and pretty bad at Lime Rock.
He would really need the people that were bad the first time to do good this time and vice versa. Because if, the Javier Zapata or even Keith Ayers scores enough points here in this one, that just eliminate him entirely.
Yeah, and as practice comes to a close, I mean, that him not making it is gonna throw a wrench in those points. I mean, him getting those 10 points, it's huge. For it's gonna open the door for just somebody else to steal that. What is it called? The end prize of $100. Yeah.
We'll slide over into qualifying here.
Looks like Will Moore's the first one out. Talked to him last week about changing his scheme every week. Looks like he's got another new one.
Number 8 looking good as always, running that same font. Some of the other trucks making their way out first. Keith Ayers, Matt McDonald, Jade Feathers, Paul Brown, Ryan O'Toole.
And I think the bottom is just really where you're going to want to be. I mean, most of the night you can't make the top work, but the bottom's really good here. Maybe the middle, but I don't think we're going to see anybody running against the wall. It's a track. It's called the Superspeedway, but it's really anything but. Ooh, Wilmore gets loose off the corner. He's going to be able to keep the lap, though. This will still count. But I was saying, this track is only 1.33 miles, same length as Darlington, smaller than any other mile and a half, obviously. But you do have to use brakes entering the corner if you want to save tires. You could enter and just coast, but it's going to eat those tires up, especially the fronts. Wilmore is going to complete his lap here. Going to put him P1. Up 8 hundredths. Take a look at, I believe this is Keith Ayers.
Keith Ayers finishes his laps, currently P3. Mark Cofield jumps up into that second place position with the first lap.
See Mark Cofield out. Looks like he's gonna stop his laps. He's up in P2. Put down a good lap there.
Here we got Charles Irwin in the 7 coming around.
Starting his first lap here. Charles Irwin's going to jump up to 7th with that first lap.
Zach
Take a look at
Mandrella
that.
took up to 6th with his first.
Coming around to complete.
Quick
Top of the board.
time, top of the board by almost a 10th. Back to watch Charles complete his second lap. P3.
It's a solid lap from Irwin. Someone we were watching last week who kind of snuck up into that top battle.
Nicholas Lamb completing lap 2, gains 1 spot over Keith Ayers. Matt McDonald appears to be closing out lap number 2, currently P9.
More, I think he's already on lap 3. He's just running practice laps at this point.
Jeffrey Smith just completed first lap, set at P11.
Yeah, we're seeing everybody run the bottom. Everybody's glued to the bottom, and nobody's even really running the middle. You know, I mean, we can really see that in the times. The top 8 are only separated by 0.2.
Jeffrey Smith jumps to P6 with that second lap. Still yet to qualify. Anthony Camarada, Jonathan Cofield, Brandon Ressler. Here goes Kevin Stanley. And before the race even starts, we'll give Paint Scheme of the Night award to Kevin Stanley. We look at the Shocker Ice Cream Chevy Silverado. That truck definitely was a shocker when we first laid our eyes on it.
One of the most interesting schemes I've seen. Looks good, though.
Anthony Camarada also on track.
Looks like Jonathan Cofield has said he's not qualifying, so. But he seems to do that every few weeks. Start from the back and somehow always makes his way back up front.
Lap 1 for Kevin Stanley is only good for a P12 at the moment.
Anthony Camerata completes his first lap. It's going to put him up to 14th. Not a great lap from him. He's still got another lap to try and make it better, though. Kevin Stanley's going to jump up to 10th. Anthony Camerata coming around out of 4. Going to complete his lap, and he's going to be... Looks like he's going to stay the same, right at 14th place. Really surprising. We usually see a little bit more speed out of him. And might do it for qualifying.
We'll tune back into the old Matt McDonald. Still turning some laps here.
Still got 2 cars who could qualify, Brendan Ressler and Austin Mioto, but haven't gone out on track yet. Gonna have a field of 19 trucks tonight. Someone we are missing that's really high up in points is Tanner Coster. Not making an appearance tonight.
We'll go up and pull up those qualifying results real quick. You got Zach Panzarella putting it on pole. Will Moore taking P2. Charles Irwin, Mark Cofield, Jeremiah Holt round out the top 5. Jeffrey Smith, Paul Brown, Nicholas Lamb, Keith Ayers, Kevin Stanley Jr. take up the rest of the top 10.
You can really tell that there's a lot of grip out there. These times are really close, especially from third to about 6th. Not much you can do too much different.
We'll snag up our pole sitter real quick. Zach Panzarella. Zach, it's Jonathan Michael in the booth. Got a copy?
Yes, sir. How's it going, guys?
Well, we're doing all right. Just watched you put down an absolute heater. Looked like it was almost a ton quicker than P2. Got yourself a pole here for Nashville Superspeedway. What do you think it's going to take to translate that P1 starting spot into a P1 finish?
Oh, man, I think this first run's just going to be all about feeling it out, learning. I'm not going to be super concerned about controlling anything. I just want to, if I'm going to make any mistakes, I want to do them now and learn the hard way about how to do the long runs here. But, yeah, didn't think I had that hot time in me, so we'll see what I can do here on the long run.
Yeah, we were talking to you before practice. You said you didn't think you were very quick here, but you proved yourself wrong. Got the pole, so good luck to you.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Enjoy the show.
Pole sitter Zach Panzarella driving that number 12 VRN super shiny, good looking truck there.
No, we've talked about Will Moore kind of being the closer, not really being up front early in these races, but here he is. He's up front. Wonder if he's going to try and take that lead early and control the race.
Green flag is in the air. We are underway from Nashville Superspeedway.
Will Moore stays right with him. I think he's got the lead.
A nice and even, if not better, jump than Zach from the number 8. So side by side through 1 and 2. And here comes Charles Irwin to the inside.
Ooh, he got a little bit loose there.
Mark Cofield in that 97.
That's something with this cold track and they're going to be really cold tires. They're going to have grip in the first few laps. Got to let them warm up. Track temp is 69 degrees.
Nice. Door leader on back view. You can see the field as they head down in through 1 and 2. Got a couple different grooves going, most of them on the inside.
Zach said he wasn't really trying to control. He was trying to manage his stuff. We can see him falling back to the leader just a little bit. It's probably part of his game plan.
Yeah, if you can keep your tire temps down, keep the wear off of them, you might be able to run them back down.
Got a loose car in the back, the 5. He keeps it going, but he's going to lose a lot of spots.
All the way back to 15th after that incident there. Looking back through the field, Anthony Camarada currently up 2 spots. Got past Jade Feathers. Jonathan, in the wall, Jade Feathers.
Yeah, gets to the wall. Looks like he tapped. I can't tell who's in that red car.
Oh,
58.
Reginald Harris, Jade Feathers all involved.
Man, that one just seemed like Jade Feathers got it all saved, and I don't know what happened. Harris.
Lots of damage there to a couple trucks.
Yeah. So it looked like he got loose and then got into the wall, and he could never get it back out of the wall. Or got tight.
Got tight, yeah. Hit the wall, bounced off Jonathan Cofield.
I wonder if he had wheel damage.
Might not have been able to turn.
Oh, gets hit by Resler there in the 79. I didn't see much damage on the front end of Resler for how hard that hit was. I mean, Jade Feathers, his back wheels got off the ground. Oh, he has some, but I feel like he got away.
There.
Got away with one there.
Reginald Harris missing the right front fender of that truck.
I think Jade Feathers had to take a tow.
Will Moore, your leader. First caution out. About 4 laps completed at the time of yellow.
We got Lamb coming down pit road. In front of him, Smith.
Jeffrey Smith, Nicholas Lamb, Matt McDonald.
Camarada, Stanley. Got about half the field coming in, mostly the back. But
if anything, in here, they're just maybe going to top off on fuel and make later pit stop shorter.
The fuel run is about 35, so this is a very straightforward fuel strategy for this race. It's very, very easily a 2-stopper, but the less fuel you got to put in later, that's always a huge advantage, especially if you get a caution late where you got to take the fuel and jump a few cars and gain some track position. So if you're in the back, you might as well. I don't think anybody's taking tires. These guys started with, looks like 4 tire sets, so they got a bunch of sets here, but still think it's a little too early for them to be taking it. But
most drivers between 5.5 to 6.5 second stops. Brandon Ressler fixed some damage, 21.95 seconds. Jade Feathers, 1:42 and counting in the pit box.
5 seconds isn't enough to even put any tires on, so those are all just fuel stops. Trying to get a little bit of an edge later on.
I can imagine most of that time still ticking on Jade Feathers is a tow.
Yeah, he sat on track for a long time. I don't know. He was waiting to tow, but he just took a while to actually get the thing towed. So he's probably going to fall 2, 3, maybe even 4 laps down before he even gets the damage fixed. Now we see the front row flip-flopped. We got Wilmore on the bottom and Panzarella on the top. Wilmore got a great jump when the green flag came out. And Panzarella, I think, was it last week? We saw him. He really struggled on the starts and restarts. He really couldn't keep up with the guys around him.
Yeah, that 12 had a lot of opportunities to restart on the high side in P2 throughout last week's race. and it seemed like you just got caught off guard almost every single time. Either that or spun the tires and had to fight to keep P2 and stay with those top guys for the first couple laps till things settled down.
Well, shout out. We got a couple nice paint schemes. The 17th Heath Ayres. It's a really neat looking paint scheme. I think it's sleek and not overdone. I don't know if that's one he made or if he found it on Trading Paints, but it's really nice looking. The pace car is off.
Good looking truck. Heading down towards the Geico restart zone. Control is with the inside truck of Will Moore.
Green, green, green.
Looks like Panzarella might have spun the tires again as Irwin's going to get to his outside.
Will Moore has the lead through 1 and 2. Panzarella wash up wide. That was enough for Mark Cofield to get by from P3. Jeremiah Holt back there on the inside of Charles Irwin.
See how wide they're making the track. They're hitting the bottom and then going all the way up to the wall. They're using every bit of this track. Makes side-by-side racing pretty hard.
There was some smoke near the back end of the field off of 2.
Feathers.
Somebody got the wall.
Kid Feathers finally off pit road. Had a 4-minute stop time on pit road.
And there it is, Will Moore into the wall off 2. A couple other trucks.
Yeah.
Mark Cofield to the inside.
Using that whole track. Something about this track is concrete. There's not a lot of grip in these tracks. I think it just takes a while for them to gain heat. And there's just no grip. It's a lot like Dover.
Yeah, and Will, I hate to tell you, that wall is stuck where it's at. It's not moving out any further.
Yeah, it's not moving for him or anybody else. It never does.
There's that brush of the wall over the course of the entire lap, costing the lead back to P3. And it looks like Charles Irwin making a challenge to the inside and taking another spot away from the 8.
These trucks are so momentum based. Ooh,
oh, the 8 and the 7 come together.
It almost spins him. The 8 gets on the wall a little bit, even more.
Truck
Like I was
still
saying,
straight.
these trucks are very momentum based. As we can see, the 8 just dropping back. And once he hit the wall, he just kept losing spots. He's in the wall hard.
Really struggling. There might be some wheel damage on the right front after these couple of hits. That might be part of the issue.
But what I'm seeing is if somebody hits the wall hard enough out of 4, it's almost like they just can't get it turned through the tri-oval. And they hit the wall when it turns back in, because it is pretty... It's another turn at this track. It's very... what's it called? The word I'm looking for.
It really sneaks up on you.
Yeah. It is almost like another turn here. You can gain time by going to the inside, but... Seems like if you hit out of 4 hard enough, you're going to hit the other side of it.
Here we're taking a look at Paul Brown, Jeremiah Holt running for P4, side by side.
I think that's the only side-by-side battle right now.
Half a second between Cofield and Panzarella at the front.
So something that
getting involved.
that pit strategy does, or that early caution, is it lets some of those guys run a little bit longer. If this goes green, they can only go about 35 laps. I think that might be up to about 38 with that caution. So some of those guys might be able to make it up to 40. And
Yeah,
at
the
that
drivers
point,
that came in on lap 5 could make it anywhere to 40 to 43, we might say, if they're driving it slow enough.
at that point, you might be able to save a little bit of fuel and play a little bit of strategy. If we get a couple more cautions, maybe you only have to pit one time under green if there's another caution, but keep an eye on it. I don't see it happening, but anything can happen here. As we got 2x2 battles starting to heat up.
Slight battle for second between Panzarella and Charles Irwin as Cofield's ahead of them by about 6/10. And then they have a good gap back to that group you see right there, led by Paul Brown.
Seems like every time out of 4, at least one person's hitting the wall. Very reminiscent of Dover. I feel like everybody hits the wall, at least somebody on in the pack will hit the wall at least once a lap.
Get a rear back off of Paul Brown here off of 4. And you see everybody sliding up towards the wall. And the one time we go to look at it, nobody does it. Charles Irwin getting by Panzarella. Looks like on the outside they're 1 and 2 there.
Like he's making that middle line work.
Yeah, normally when we're talking about a second lead and a Cofield out front, it's Jonathan, but tonight it's Mark in the 97.
Oh, it's spin. Zapata through the grass. No caution yet.
Sideways and stopped down in the grass. Feet are still green.
He's still in the grass. And when he comes on the track, I wonder if he's going to be too sideways. Looks like he gets it straight on the track. No caution.
Green flag is still in the air. Off the racing surface, single truck. Not too much of a need for a yellow there. One could argue for it to be thrown.
It did bring a lot of dirt on the track. I don't know how much that affects the trucks on an oval, but it is there.
Look back through the field. We're seeing a fight for P15. Mioto and Ryan O'Toole inside outside. 2 good looking trucks right there. So they're going to split Reginald Harris 3 wide down the front straight.
This battle's been going on for a few laps. They're just, nobody can pass each other back here. I mean, they're passing, but it's just back and forth. These guys have been 3 wide off of 4 almost every turn. You see it in the background.
The lap down car of Jade Feathers, 4 laps down.
It's going to take a lot for him to get back on the lead lap. It's going to take a lot of cautions and a lot of luck.
But we're fighting up here around P9. We got Jonathan Cofield, Camarada, and McDonald, Kevin Stanley all in the area. Jonathan Cofield, the current biggest mover, and of course you're going to have that when you don't qualify and start at the back. And you've got the speed that he does.
Yeah, and I'm noticing that Cofield's starting to fall a little bit back to Irwin, a little bit. I don't know if he just had a bad corner or two, but I think Irwin's starting to catch him just a little bit.
Yeah, the gap was about a second, and it's shrunk down to roughly 7 to 8 tenths. A little bit of time lost off the lead, but Irwin, is pushing a little bit. Got past Panzarella.
Or Cofield, he could just be managing the gap because I keep seeing it drop to 0.75, then it'll go back up to 0.85. So he could just be managing it, saving his tires just only as much as he needs to run the truck.
Panzarella looked like he got a little squirrely off of 4 there. Paul Brown closing in on the back end of that P3 truck.
Someone making some moves through the field right now. Really fast is Matt McDonald. He's on the inside of Jeffrey Smith. Jeffrey Smith gets way up there.
And here comes Jonathan Cofield right behind, trying to figure out which truck to follow.
To no one's surprise, he is our biggest mover so far, +7. I think you just said that. But he's made his way about halfway up. Only 24 laps in, but it's just going to get harder and harder the further he gets up. We're starting to see first, second, and third really get gaps between them. And I think these guys are finding their groove. The tires are starting to wear a little bit. Starting to show who saved and who didn't.
It's
like Paul Brown.
Gap from first to second, staying roughly the same. Oh, and a brush of the wall for Cofield.
Ooh.
Quite a few trucks deep in the field brushing the wall as well.
Didn't look too bad, but
It looked like Cofield brushed the wall, a little bit, but I think Irwin brushed the wall as well, so wasn't able to capitalize on the mistake.
And I'm seeing Paul Brown. He's really starting to catch Panzarella here. Paul Brown up 3 spots from where he started. These guys are only about 10 laps from fuel stops. And you can make it from lap 34. I know they can go about 35, but we did have that caution, so you can definitely short pit this and try to gain some track position on new tires, pitting at lap 34.
This battle between Miyoto and Ryan O'Toole has just continued. They're kind of back in their own little area right now. They're still fighting each other. Checking with Kevin Stanley, trying to get his position P12 from Nicholas Lamb.
Something I was saying about you could short pit is, even though there's not much passing going on, everybody's still pretty close. So if you come in and you can gain a second or two just on pit road with new tires, you're going to gain a lot of positions on these guys.
And you have the top 13 only separated by 6.5 seconds. That's not a whole lot. Still a big group of drivers from about 11th up to 7th.
And right now these guys are about a second, a little more than a second off what they were running, so the tires are definitely wearing out. Come down pit road and a lap or two before, you're going to gain about 2 or 3 seconds.
Will Moore's fallen all the way back to 11th at the tail end of this group. Our P2 qualifier is also the current tough break. Lost the most spots so far.
And sometimes I'm seeing all those people who pit really haven't come back through the field. I know they didn't take tires, but they aren't really making their way up the field. Only one person's fallen back who didn't take fuel, and that's Will Moore. But we did see him hit the wall.
As this run has gone on, we've seen some time shrink between Cofield and Irwin, down to about half a second now.
I'm seeing a big gap has formed between 5th and 6th. The first 5 are together, and now everyone past 6th is gapped. Make our way to lap 32. I think we'll start seeing pit stops, at least people who want to jump it in the next 2 laps. With the end of 33 or on 34. I think that's the earliest they can pit and still make it.
If I had to expect anybody to make an early pit stop, I'd put my eyes on the 12 Zach Panzarella. He's always got something up his sleeve when it comes to, taking some sort of strategy into effect, even when there might not be one. In a race where you can split it up almost evenly. They're trying to find something to work.
Someone else would be Camerata. Last week he tried to save fuel and just didn't make it to his pit box. Ran out of fuel coming to pit road. So we might see him jump early or maybe even run it long. Camerata was one of those people who pit that first time under that caution. So, ooh, hard into the wall, the 11 and Jeffrey Smith. As we see Will Moore down pit road.
Will Moore making the call to come down on start of lap 34.
Man, he was involved. He hit the wall pretty hard. He was up near the lead.
P2
and lost all of his spot.
The wall off before there.
Yeah, these cars are starting to get tight.
We got a pass for P4 coming into play here. Jeremiah Holt, Paul Brown going right back at it from earlier.
And Will Moore's going to take 4 tires. I was wondering if anybody would try to take no tires or just 2. But Will Moore's going to take 4 and try and use up those tires as much as he can. And like I was saying, lap 34, we got 2 other cars
And
coming
here we
down.
go,
Here's
Zach
Panzarella.
Panzarella, 73. That's Jeremiah Holt following him in. Got Matt McDonald behind that, and the next 3 to come down.
And those guys who did pit, they can go to about, I think they're going to be able to go to about lap 41-ish. Somewhere around there if they saved. Maybe even 43 at the most. So, could hope for a caution. Our leader coming in. Looks like
Watch
everybody
out,
on pit
Ryan
road now.
O'Toole, Javier Zapata coming down as well.
Those 3 guys, they all took 4 tires. Nobody's taken 2 yet.
Matt McDonald, first one out of the pits of everybody.
No, Panzarella did beat him. Panzarella had a really good pit entry or something. He gapped those guys by a lot.
My event ticker was wrong. It said Matt McDonald followed by Zach Panzarella. Well, Zach, first one out.
And that's actually huge for Zach because those guys behind him came out behind some of that
Paul
traffic.
Brown, Jonathan Gofield coming down.
Looking at everyone who's pit so far, everybody has taken 4 tires so far.
Now, Charles
Nobody's
Irwin,
taking the gamble.
he's stretching it. Some of these drivers are still out there that didn't pit.
Yeah, I think he's going to have to pit in the
Irwin
next
and
lap or
Ayers.
2.
Here he is.
Yep, here it is. Ooh!
Coming in hot.
If he makes speed, that's going to gain him a lot of time. That was nicely done.
Keith Ayers follows behind. Looks like no problem making it on speed there.
Jeremiah Holt with an 18-second stop. That's a long stop. Everybody else is running about 15 seconds.
Jeffrey Smith, Camarada, Nicholas Lamb, Kevin Stanley Jr., Mioto, Reginald Harris, Brandon Russler. All still out there. They are drivers that took fuel on lap 5. So they can make it to about 42 or 3 if they drove it the same way that Irwin did.
These next 2 guys on pit road. It looks like everybody's just going to take 4 here. I guess tire wear is going to be that bad, or they don't want to risk it yet. I guarantee we'll see some guys try and take 2 if this runs green on that last stop. They got to do one more around 67 if they want to pit early, and probably around 78-ish if they want to pit late.
Now here's the gap for the lead once it cycles. Zach Panzarella has jumped in front of Mark Cofield during green flag pit stops. See Rustler coming down. Mioto coming down as well.
And the only people out are those people who pit under that caution.
Smith, Camarada, Lamb, Stanley Jr., Harris. The entire top 5.
Panzarella right now, compared to everyone else on new tires, he is about a second and a third quicker than those guys out there on old tires. As I say that, our leaders are coming in this time. Last 2, the 96 and the 71. See them right there.
96, 71, 113 all came down that time by. That just leaves
That's
the 37 and the 5. You can see the field just blowing by Nicholas Lamb.
I think he might have
He
damage.
might be out of fuel.
He might have run it dry, yeah.
Nicholas Lamb appears to be out of fuel running through 3 and 4.
The Nicholas Lamb pit the same lap. Or not Nicholas Lamb.
Kevin Stanley's
Kevin
in this
Stanley,
time.
yeah.
You can see Nicholas Lamb just coasting around down there. And there is no engine sounds from that truck. It is basically dead. He's trying to make it. Looks like he has enough to twitch it down there. Coast on in, and he's good.
That's going to cycle the lead.
Zach Panzarella to the lead, but with a 2/10 gap to Cofield, who has shrunk the distance between them.
Yeah, and they're tired.
Traffic.
Only 2 laps. 1 lap. Ooh, the 11 off track. I don't know what's going on. Something happened with the 11 in 8th place. It looked like there was like a 3 wide thing going on, and looks like he has some right front damage. Not sure what. He just came down. Got on the grass.
I wonder if there's any sort of technical difficulty going on there. Back to the fight for the lead, side by side down the front stretch.
He took a faster pair. He did just take a faster pair, so.
There's probably some major damage off turn 2.
Panzarella gets up high and the marbles up there. See how much time he lost. And we did see Cofield run away with the lead early. So we know he has a lot of speed, especially if he gets that clean air. Matt McDonald's back
right on the back end of that 12 for P3. Jonathan Cofield has cycled up 13 positions to P4.
Yeah, he pit a little bit later.
He was down on 37 compared to most of the 35s. And
so something I am seeing is some of these guys who stayed out longer, about 8 laps longer than some of these guys we're looking at here, they didn't fall that far back. So if this runs long, if you see Camerata 12 seconds back, that's not bad. They are definitely faster than these guys in front, so if this runs green, they might be able to even out, catch them. Especially with these guys running a lap traffic here. Ooh, as Panzarella makes a quick move to the bottom.
Panzarella not ready to give up track position just yet. Knows he has the speed to compete with the front here.
'70 of Brown's not giving up though.
Brown and Panzarella about 2 laps different on tires. Paul Brown down on 37, Panzarella on 35.
Cofield's going to make a run on Panzarella here. Panzarella really struggling, or he's saving his tires. So we're halfway in this race.
Jonathan Cofield does appear to be taking the inside around Panzarella.
Ooh. Looks like Mark Cofield just tapped the wall there on exit. Alright, so these guys up front, they have to pit around lap 70 is about as far as they can go, but guys who pit later can make it to about laps 78 to 80.
Makes me wonder if there's going to be any sort of right side tire call from those guys that are going to pit around 80.
I think it's definitely viable, as we see Camerata talking about him 11 seconds back. He's just about to get down to 10.9 there. So he's definitely catching, and if he takes 2 tires and he gets up into within, I don't want to say 5-6 seconds, he could definitely jump to leaders, I think. 4 tires versus 2. You do save somewhere about 6-7 seconds, I think. Ooh, that's not Matt McDonald. That's
Ryan O'Toole in 15.
Ryan O'Toole. That was a hard hit. It seems like the wall's pretty forgiving out of turn 4. You can hit it pretty hard, not get too much damage, or if you do get damage, it's not affecting these trucks too much.
This is the right front of that 15 that just ran the wall down.
Hey, look up front. We've got this battle for the lead is really heating up. The 70s caught up to the 97. And then Jonathan Cofield is right behind him. They are catching Mark quick. I wonder if Mark ran his stuff too hard to get by Panzarella and get that clean air. He's running about half a tenth slower right now than Jonathan Cofield, lap over lap.
Austin Mioto has been down pit road for roughly almost 4 minutes now. So I wonder if that truck has called it a night.
So I think there's going to be two scenarios of taking two tires. Either you pit at lap 67, which will get you to the end, maybe 63, take two tires only less than 10 laps away, so you could definitely take right sides there, or you run it as long as possible and then take two sets. I think if you pit in the middle of that, you got to take 4. So I think we're only about 10 laps away, if that, from pit stops if you want to do that 2-tire call. So that could be why we see Mark Cofield running so hard. He might be just pitting as soon as he can to make it and take two tires.
Before the battle for P1 spices up, we'll see how the battle for P2 goes. They might just be sticking in line, waiting to get to the leader. Doesn't look like Jonathan Cofield wants to make any moves until they get up there.
Yeah, they caught up to him quick, and it seems like either they're stuck or they don't want to pass him.
Charles Irwin, the next truck behind them, has gotten past Zach Panzarella.
Irwin having kind of a quiet day, a good day though, up there. Had a good week last week, and he's gonna rack up some solid points if he keeps it where he is.
Check
You look back at
Jeremiah
Stick.
Hole all alone.
Someone we haven't talked about. I think he's only run a couple of races, but having a solid day nonetheless.
Shortly behind that's our P2 starter, Will Moore. Not exactly the day he's hoping for, but he's trying to work his way back up there.
Yeah, we see it happen all the time. Him come up through the field and just be there at the end. So keep an eye out for him if we get late race caution or even just a long run.
Anthony
Camarada's
Camarada in P8.
Keep my eye on. You see, we were talking about him being 11 seconds back. He's down to 9/8. So he's catching them. I think he's running out of time to really use the tires up. He's got to use them.
Jeffrey Smith shortly behind that, cracking into the top 10 with 9th place. Kevin Stanley running out that top 10.
Yeah, and everyone behind him, there's people we've seen that have had speed, but they've run into problems. Like Lamb has hit the wall, Zapata spun through the infield, Matt McDonald hit the wall a couple times.
The pass for P2 has been completed. Jonathan Cofield has gotten past Paul Brown.
It's something we haven't said in a while. It's the Cofield and Cofield show up at the front.
A couple different races, they've started up near each other and controlled the start of the race. It seemed like during those races, something unfortunate would happen to Mark, and Jonathan would run away with it. So we can see how this turns out for the final 40 laps of the race.
Only 1 lap difference on tires, and I think at this point in the run, it doesn't really matter. At this point, it's all about how you saved him getting here. And Jonathan Cofield definitely had to run in that wake of Paul. Paul has dropped off significantly. Over a second back.
Yeah, at this point, it looks like Charles Irwin might have a chance to get out there and pass him.
And like I was saying, it's not really about tire wear here. It's about tire heat. So I'm just wondering if Irwin or Brown just overheated that right front and has to let it cool back down.
Now, Mioto did not call it a night. Back on track, P19, 14 laps down.
Hey, in a wreck, I mean, there's still time if somebody has to back out to gain some points. And Cofield got a great run off the corner there. He's going to have a run to the inside.
You know, those two in a Discord chat together aren't going to race each other too hard.
Ooh, he's
They're
going to
give
clear
each other
him.
some good space.
Oh, not quite. No, he is clear of him. You made that look easy. And then being on a team and working together, I mean, it could just be Mark saying, yeah, you're faster than me, go ahead. And I think we are within that window. So I think pit stops could be starting at any point if anyone wants to short pit. Got a battle for 4th and 5th going on. Between Zach and Charles Irwin.
Couple trucks in the wall off of 4 that lap.
Yeah, it was Paul Brown. Into the wall again. Not hard, but did hit it a second time.
Again,
There he
first
is.
one down pit road.
He was the first one to pit last time too, and he's short pitting. We'll see if he takes 2 or 4.
Watch us venture down pit road. We'll see if both sides of that truck get lifted.
We missed his pit box. He had to back it up. Putting rights on it, but he did miss his box. He's still in his pit box. I think he's going to take lefts. Yep, there it goes. He's taking 4.
Tires for the number 8.
But he did miss his box. He had to back up. It didn't cost him too much, but it could make a difference.
About 2 seconds costed there. 17.2 second stop in the box. Most stops tonight have been about 15 for 4 tires and fuel. Jonathan Cofield has increased that lead to 7/10 over Mark. And it's about another 7/10 back to Paul Brown.
And one more. He came in. He was in what? About 7th, 8th place?
Yeah, that was about where he was.
So we'll see where he cycles out at the end of this pitting early, being the only one to do it. Come right at the beginning of the fuel run.
Canzarella did get back past Charles Irwin for P4.
The pod is going to come in this time. Last car in the lead lap.
Brian O'Toole's down.
And pitting this early is...
Zapata, super hot.
Ooh!
Got it slowed down, it looks like.
I thought we were going to see another person nosing into the inside wall pit lane. I think we've seen that every week on green flag stops. Yeah, I was going to say,
down from P6.
hitting this early is a risk. If the caution comes out, you're going to be stuck a lap down for the rest of the race with how far we are into the race. Only 30 laps to go, so if you get trapped a lap down, you're not going to make it. Ooh, Mark Cofield's coming down pit road this time, our 2nd place truck.
And here comes Mark.
Yeah, I think one more kind of forced the hand of everybody else to come down.
Mark Cofield looked like he came in a little bit hot. We'll see how that one ends up.
Just taking 4 tires. Same with Mark Cofield. Mark Cofield having a long stop. Oh no, he's not in his box yet.
As with roughly 27 left to go, we find ourselves in a familiar situation. Jonathan Cofield multiple seconds ahead of P2.
Yeah, but we did see Mark Cofield come in just now. He took 4 tires. He's gonna gain some time on Jonathan here. He's gonna have to run these.
Mark Cofield did have a quite excellent stop, a 15.02. Most of the other trucks are turning 15.5 to 15.7 seconds, so he really nailed that pit stop.
Yeah, I want to point out though, Zach Panzarella did come in that last time first, 1 lap before Jonathan
He is
Cofield,
pulling away right now.
and did pass him. So this could help out Mark and get him the lead. Cycled. Jonathan's still on pit road. Mark Cofield's coming in 3 and 4 right now, right in the middle. There's going to be close off pit road. Caution's out.
Yellow flag
Caution's
is out.
Straight.
Reginald Harris, Austin Mioto involved.
And Jonathan Cofield might be the luckiest person in iRacing. He stays on the lead lap. He exits pit road. And he is going to cycle. I believe he's going to cycle as our leader.
Reginald Harris in the wall, and Mioto just comes up and they get hooked together.
And I was just saying just before this, pitting early is going to hurt you if this caution comes out.
So here comes the rest of the field that had not pit yet.
Oh. Charles Irwin is staying out. He's not letting these guys get the wave around. He's going to trap them a lap down.
Absolutely insane call from the 7 here.
He's gone 36 laps. He can't go much further.
That's going to trap Zach Panzarella, Jeremiah Holt, Paul Brown, Will Moore, Matt McDonald, Keith Ayers, Javier Zapata. Everybody a lap down.
He's doing this, but he's already 36 laps on this run, and as far as I knew, they could only go about 35, so he's going to have to pit this under caution here. Unless he goes on green, and then it won't make any difference because he's just going to have to pit, and it'll cycle those guys around. Unless he was saving. He might have a couple laps, and he's going to pit, put freshies on it, and... No, here he comes. Yeah, that would have been an insane save.
And this should allow those drivers to get cycled back around, correct?
Yeah, now that he's pit.
We'll watch Paul Brown and everyone. Well, that brought Jonathan Cofield in front of him.
Yeah, he was in front of him already. Or not in front of him, but in front of the other guy.
Nobody's going around. They're lining up.
It might... Well... They might just be stuck a lap down because he did that.
They are still stuck a lap down.
Yeah, we've got 7 cars on the lead lap. That's going to keep Charles Irwin on the lead lap. Last car there.
Those couple cars that are on the lead lap are... The whole order's getting all sorted out and messed up. All because of the 7 making that call to stay out. And you see everybody scrambling to get in the right position that iRacing's telling them to. There are only 7 trucks on the lead lap. Caution has been extended.
And what that did for Charles Irwin is he pit. He has 1 lap fresher tires than everybody else. But why did we extend it? Oh, because there's still people trying to get where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, everyone's still trying to sort out
Yep.
their starting position. Well, as it stands, everybody from 8th back to 14th is a lap down. Reginald Harris is 2 down. O'Toole Wrestler 4. Jade Feathers 5. Mioto was 14 plus laps down. Gonna probably be either sitting the rest of it out after being involved in that wreck or come out very last minute. The fight for Lucky Dog is going to start with Zach Panzarella and Paul Brown being the front 2, followed by Will Moore, Jeremiah Holt, Keith Ayers. Those guys are all going to be jockeying for Lucky Dog. If another yellow comes out. As the laps tick down, you know, the yellows get more likely as people try to get their positions, especially fighting for the win.
As much as I hate to say it for the field, I don't see anybody beating Jonathan Cofield at this point. We've seen him be so good on restarts and just drive away, but we'll see.
There's only about 2 people that might have the chance that are on the lead lap. That's Irwin and Mark Cofield. But they got to get through the other 4 drivers.
Green flag, green flag.
Jonathan just
see
rolls
it.
away with it.
Panzarella's coming fast. I think he wants to try and get his lap back the hard way if a caution comes out. Doesn't want to have to start at the end of the pack. He's going to try his damnedest to get up there. Right now, I want to point out, well, Zach Panzarella would be the lucky dog if the caution came out, so there is that battle. He's battling with Paul Brown. We're talking about Austin Mioto coming back out. He's back on pit road. He has been since the caution, but I think he's calling it a night.
Now, this is not the first time that we've seen multiple trucks get trapped a lap down from somebody making some sort of call staying out under yellow. But not only that scenario, but it gets even more complex. It's benefited Jonathan Cofield almost every single time.
Yeah, he got off pit road and right as the caution came out and he hadn't been lapped yet. It happened, I think, last week too, where he came off pit road, got in front of the leader, and then the caution came out and pretty much gave him the lead. He was able to pull away.
Hard into the wall back there. I don't know what truck that was. I think it was Paul Brown. It was hard into the wall off of Ford. Trying to chase down Panzarella for like a dog if we were to get another yellow.
And we're seeing Cofield pull out to over a half a second gap right now. Third place even further back. Well, Brown hits the wall on the front stretch again. We've got,
Man, McDonald down pit lane.
yeah, that McDonald back down. And something, when a race gets like this, when you got a bunch of cars a lap down, it tends to run green just because a lot of guys just aren't racing for position anymore. You're racing guys on the lead lap, you're racing guys who are a lap down. It tends to be a little more give and take. Ooh, Wilmore hard on the wall on the front straight. As I say that, it was Will Moore fighting a lap car, or the other way around. And then he got into the wall and fighting someone on a different lap. It's on the wall again.
Now, as it stands, we haven't talked about this almost all night, except for right at the beginning. Kind of slipped our minds a little bit. But the Dash for Cash is currently being led by the P2 driver of Kevin Stanley. The next closest Dash for Cash driver is the one right behind him, Jeffrey Smith. And it looks like Anthony Camarada is the third highest in P5.
Yeah, without a caution or Kevin Stanley wearing his tires out, I think he might just have it. As Cofield pulls out to a second gap. Looks like Lamb is catching Smith for third.
Nicholas Lamb wanted to add to that playoff points total, trying to snag third to get another point, maybe looking to get up to P2 to get 3 playoff points from Kevin Stanley.
Jeffrey Smith having a good day today, running P3 at the moment. Take a look back at the 7 and 71 of Irwin and Camarada. Ooh, Camarada gets to his inside, almost gives him a love tap.
And somewhat tame for the most part throughout the field.
Lamb is there on Jeffrey. He might pass him in the next 2 laps if he keeps this up. He's been right on his bumper going down the backstretch, but just can't get it on corner entry. They both hit the wall.
Slightly bigger hit for Lamb, but still on the back end of Jeffrey here.
You can see he gets to him right on corner entry, but just loses it right on corner entry. But he gets really good runs on the back end of the corner down the backstretch. He's not really able to do anything with the runs he's producing. He's going to get wide here. Doesn't hit the wall. See Panzarella behind him. He is a lap down. That first car 1 lap down. Although that battle for Lucky Dog is heating up a little bit. Only 4/10 separate them.
Coming to 7 to go for Jonathan Cofield. He just continues to drive away from everybody behind.
Yeah, and he's on, I think it's 4 lap older tires than these guys behind him. So just goes to show how good he is. Battle for P6, Cofield and Camarada. Camarada got a little tight there, corner entry. We're side by side. Lucky Dog battle starting to heat up.
Yeah, Lucky Dog battle. Just if they get a last minute yellow, those two are probably gonna have that Lucky Dog spot. That does kind of, interfere and probably ruin the battle for P3. It didn't look like Lamb really had too much for him. He kept getting to him, but didn't have anything to get by.
I don't think Panzarella really minds the spot he's in right now, since Paul has really nowhere to go, stuck behind Lamb. Kind of using him as a pick as he clears in front of Lamb. Lamb's going to battle back on the inside, though.
The gap now up to 3 seconds. 3.5.
Only 3 to go.
Jonathan Cofield. I'm almost going to have to let you take lead on the interviews tonight, just to not be so repetitive on what we're saying. It seems to be every week.
Yeah, he joined the league, said he wasn't going to run much, but I think he got a taste of winning and decided to come back every time, as we got 2 to go. If any of these other drivers want a chance to win, somebody's going to have to spin and cause a wreck, because Jonathan Cofield has gapped the field.
Coming through 3 and 4 on his way to the white flag. Final lap underway. Kevin Stanley almost all alone for P2. Jeffrey Smith seems too far back to gain that position. Nicholas Lamb has nobody around for battle. Charles Irwin, nobody around. Mark Cofield, Anthony Camarada all alone. Panzarella and Paul Brown are for position. But it's going to be Jonathan Cofield off of turn 4 for the final time. And he will win Nashville Superspeedway.
Kevin Stanley's going to finish P2, Smith 3rd, Lamb 4th, and Irwin in 5th. 6th and 7th will be our last lead lap finishers with Cofield and Camarada. But 4.2 seconds ahead for Cofield there on that final restart. I mean, he just checked out. Oh, in post-race we have Ryan O'Toole getting into Matt McDonald there. Maybe a little displeasure from something that happened in the race. Looks like top 3 have decided to also do some burnouts back there. They definitely earned it today. Got to congratulate the field. I mean, only one caution. We were talking about at the beginning of the season. These guys struggling a little bit keeping the races green, but one caution all day. I mean, great job to the field.
All right, we'll start with our race winner. We'll bring Jonathan up here, and like I said, I will let you take control on this one. And here he is, race winner.
Jonathan.
Oh, what's up?
It's Michael and Jonathan in the booth. Had to switch it up this time, not to get stale. You want to tell us how important it was to get out of pit road before that caution flew?
Yeah, that was, I hate that it put half the field a lap down, but, if just need to practice doing green flag. I mean, everybody raced good, man. Same like with this league, we have a lot of problems pitting during green flags. I don't know if it's the tires or people catching people on old tires or what it is, but just need a little practice there, and I think we'll be good. Hate that it put a bunch of people lap down though.
Yeah, I mean, who was it?
Yeah,
Charles Irwin decided to stay out, and we knew he had the pit.
Not exactly sure what the tire situation was between the drivers that wrecked that brought that out, but it looked like the 113 just got the wall a little bit off 4, and then I think it was the 16 of Miyoto just came up and kind of cut his nose off a little bit, so I don't know if that was an old new tire situation, but it was timed well for you, not really much for hardly anybody else. But I mean, you were going to be hard to beat regardless. You know, you've got speed and just patience in you, not working too hard for, you know, burning up them tires. You keep them under you, and you know you have long run speed and short run speed when it comes to, especially tracks like this we've seen so far.
Yeah, yeah, this place is real big on tire management, just backing your corners down, trying to drag a lot of brake, trying to get the car down to the yellow line as fast as possible. But yeah, you know, starting back, I wanted to race some of these guys. Maybe some of them follow me. You know, it's all about learning. A lot of guys in here, I know they're from the PlayStation, Xbox era, so a lot of guys coming into iRacing. So it just takes learning, tire management, and yeah, just keep learning, man.
Yeah, we know you're the class of the field, and I know I love when someone's a little bit faster than me, or even in your case, a lot faster. If you can get behind them, you can definitely learn a lot. So I'm sure these guys, I mean, they don't like losing, but I'm sure they can appreciate when they get behind you and just watch you run your race.
Yeah, kudos to this league too. You know, a lot of leagues don't want no fast guys in here. They're, you know, whooping tail all the time. I mean, I try not to steal no spotlight. I try to start in the rear. You know, race some guys. You know, it's all a learning thing. And a lot of these guys are getting quicker. You know, I mean, we've seen newer people getting in onto the podium. So hopefully it's helping.
Yeah, I mean, you caught a really good caution there. I mean, if that caution came out a little bit earlier, a little bit later, I mean, it could have been a whole different story. But I mean, great race from you. And Jonathan, you got anything else to add?
I just want to thank everybody at Worldwide Racing League for letting me come in here and hang out. You guys doing the broadcast. Uh, my son's wanting me to shout him out right here beside me. What the world? Apparently he don't never get shout out. So my son sitting beside me, bugging the crap out of me. Just everybody in the league. Like I said, there was a different strategy there. Some guys pitted when we had that first caution, so they could run a little longer. So we had a good mixture of old tires, new tires there for a while, and everybody done a great job. If we can get through green flag pit stops, I think we'll have it. But Cofield Asphalt Refinish and Cofield Appliance Service, SM Racing Products. You ain't got a button box, go check those guys out. Use code Bandits1, save you a little money. Shout out to Dad, and we got a new one in here, Jeremiah Holt. He's from another league with us, so they run pretty good till we had those problems.
Absolutely. Well, a great race from you. Congratulations on another race, Lynn. Win. And with the absence of Tanner Coster, you're going to close in on him and then playoff points again. You might even close in on him on the regular season points. I mean, he's going to sit at 370 for 2 weeks in a row. And you were at, if I scroll down, you were up to 214 heading in. Playoff lead if Coster continues to miss.
Yeah, I don't know where he's been. He's a fun guy to race with. Whatever he's got going on, hope everything's all right, and can't wait to get him back in here.
Absolutely. Well, you go have yourself a good night and celebrating the win.
Thank you, sir.
That was Jonathan Cofield, our race winner. I know we'd like to add on his topic of everybody getting better as the season's gone on. You know, we started broadcasting this. I was solo for the first race. We missed Daytona. They ran that one. I'm not sure how that one went. But when I came in and started for Atlanta, and then we had Vegas, you know, they were up in the double-digit cautions, you know, 10, 13. And they had quite a few at a short track of Martinsville as well. But the last week or two, maybe even 3, you know, they've had, you know, maybe enough to count on just one hand. They've definitely cleaned it up. They've learned each other, and the racing's starting to get a lot more green flag. You know, lots of green flag runs, and can really show the long run speed of some of these guys.
Yeah, I think it comes down to when we started, I was talking about these guys have like zero chemistry. I mean, I know they raced together back in the PlayStation days, but iRacing is so different. You give so much more car control, and well, you got to build the chemistry again when you switch over to a different platform. So you definitely see it building, and it's showing. It's paying off.
Absolutely. Now we'll grab our second place finisher. We got Kevin Stanley Jr. in the 5. Kevin, it's Jonathan, Michael in the booth. Got a copy?
I do, go.
Sounds like some excitement from you there for a solid P2. And I'm going to start off with...
Jonathan doesn't count. He's in his own race. That's a P1. Jonathan's just Jonathan. That's a 1, 2, 3 for the team, in my opinion.
Hey man, we've seen you run really fast and then you get taken out a lot. So I mean, this has to feel great for you.
Yeah, I just put 2 in the pink, 1 in stank.
That paint scheme, man.
That lit us up when we first saw that one.
You know, it's funny. I put on a new camera for you for Case Beer to try out this week, where it's really zoomed in, and we saw your paint scheme, and we knew we had to zoom in on it when we saw it in practice with the new camera we were using out.
I saw it and I was like, yep, that's the scheme for this week.
Well, back to the race topic. Solid run from you. You know, you're up there fighting with some of those guys. You end up in your own little gap there at the front. You know, nobody's running down Jonathan Cofield. You got a big gap to the guys behind you. You just took home $25. Dash for Cash winner for the week.
Woohoo, gas money!
Yeah, I mean, you know, you gotta feel good about this one overall. You know, like you said, Jonathan's in his own thing. You see this as a win because of that, and you know, solid points to carry through the season. Sitting in tonight, it looks like, if I can find it, yeah, you were the points leader of everybody not locked in, so you're gonna continue to hold that spot after tonight. And you know, that win's got to be coming for you. I can feel it.
Hopefully, not Jonathan.
So, with the fuel being about 35 laps, it really opened up the strategy on what if you want to pit early, pit late.
Yeah, I
What
kind
was
of
your
paying
strategy
attention.
going in?
So the previous races I was looking at, and there's always been some caution at the end that I got screwed over by. So I was like, you know what, I'm pushing as long as possible. I'm not pitted until I won out, basically.
So you didn't pit when that caution came out. You were still out.
I pitted the first caution.
Well, the one when the caution came out during that stint.
Oh no, I haven't pitted yet.
Yeah.
I was still.
I mean, it paid off.
Yeah,
Second to Jonathan Cofield.
You know, the drivers of that benefited were, you know, Jonathan Cofield, you, Jeffrey Smith, Nicholas Lamb, Charles Irwin, and looks like Mark Cofield. I think we're some of the only guys still on the lead lap. You know, they didn't have the opportunity to fall
Tony
really far down.
Too, I think.
Oh, yeah. Zach was the first one a lap down, so the top 7, you know, that really benefited all of them because they couldn't fall any worse than 7th unless they wrecked. So they were all guaranteed a really solid finish there. But it's an extremely, you know, good finish for you. Pocketed $25, give you some good points towards the 100 overall at the end. You had scored 4 in the first race, so it's going to put you at 12, which has got to be somewhere in the first, second, or third, you know, area there. I think Jeffrey Smith
and
might
then a
take
word
the overall lead.
Yeah. We ain't doing good at line mark. I'm just gonna admit that.
Yeah, road course to close it out. We'll see how that one goes. You know, 3 weeks from now, not anytime soon. We misspoke at the end of broadcast last week. Thought that was this week. We were just a whole month ahead of time.
It's good.
But anyway,
looking forward to the Indy 500 this week. That's why.
Me and Matt are here waiting for the Coke 600. We're going to be in Charlotte all weekend for that, for all the events. But yeah, congratulations on a solid finish. You know, still got good points going. I'm sure you'll be in there for that win eventually. I mean, you know, luck's got to run out eventually. Jonathan might get tangled up in something at some point. The win's coming for you.
Y'all didn't hear anything.
At the wrong time, you know.
Yeah, that caution while he's pitting is gonna bite him eventually. But for now, we got solid finishes out of everybody else behind him, and you know, congratulations on the P2 tonight.
Yes, sir. Hopefully, see y'all again soon.
And for our last interview of the night, we're gonna get the P3 driver of Jeffrey Smith, somebody who we're, you know, always keeping an eye on. Not exactly the highest runner of this field, but consistent nonetheless. Jeffrey, it's Jonathan and Michael in the booth. Got a copy? Driver of Jeffrey Smith.
I hear you, buddy.
Hey man, fantastic run for me tonight. A P3 for the race, and might have been good enough for the Dash for Cash had Kevin Stanley not had P2, but still solid points both for the overall season and the Dash for Cash. You're gonna add 7 onto your 6 from before, and I do think without doing math on anybody else, that's gonna put you in either first, maybe second, or at worst third in the chase for the $100 total that we have at Lime Rock in 3 weeks. But you finished really strong. We watched you most of the race. You're not typically top 3. You're a top 5 consistent. I mean you're strong every week. Just some unfortunate things in some races might knock you back, but we've always got our eye on you. And I guess to put a question in here, I'm just throwing a lot of statements out. How'd you feel all night?
Well, boys, it comes down to this. I am a big, hairy American racing machine. I wake up in the morning and I piss excellence, and if you don't chew Big Red, no, I'll cut it off.
I think that's the second time we've gotten this in the booth.
Yeah, I was waiting on that. I know you guys like when I come up here. I got to be entertaining. Yeah. No, I honestly, you guys are going to hate this, and it probably cost me more than it helped me here, but I had never even loaded this track until about 8:07.
Did you have to buy it?
I did not. I thought I was. When I came down here initially, I was like, I think I got to buy that. I did not. And so I ran about 7 or 8 minutes worth of practice, ran my qualifying, and that's all the laps I ever had on this track. So I was just kind of learning off of Nick. Nick's a great teammate. Kevin, obviously a great teammate. We were all on the same strategy there, so it kind of worked out. Thankfully that caution came out, and I don't know how it would have worked out. Hindsight's one of those things, but I'm glad it did the way it is. We needed that.
Were you one of those guys who pit on lap 5 and
took
fuel? And I think most of the guys up there were the guys who, I think they had to be actually.
Yep.
To run that long.
Yep. Yeah, so it was like 7th on back, because I think I was 7th or 8th when that came out, and everybody behind me went.
Yeah, because I know just a little bit extra fuel, 5 laps. I mean, it added up, and I mean the caution came out, and it helped everybody that did it. So, I mean, we were kind of questioning it when it happened because we knew it wasn't going to be really a fuel race. But I mean, now looking back at it, I mean, it was a race-winning move, just about.
Yep, it was a good call by Nick Lamb. You gotta really give it to that guy. I mean, Stanley Motorsports in general is a whole team effort. So, Austin, Nick, Kevin, everybody's got a hand in everything. There's, I'm not gonna say we're on here every night practicing, but when we get on here on Tuesdays, it's locked in and we're ready to go. Everybody's got a little bit of input. Nick most times more than anybody, which has helped us out a ton.
Yeah, well, it certainly looks like it pays off. You guys have quite a few solid finishes every week from, almost the whole team.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, we'll go ahead and let you give your shout-outs if you got any.
Oh, man, I got a lot to say. Don't even pretend like you didn't. So I think I'm gonna do it a little bit different this week. First of all, you guys, I never give you guys enough credit. I'm so sorry about that. It took me a while to realize what I was doing there, but you guys do a great job up there every week. Keeping everybody updated, the point stuff. You guys do an awesome job. Stanley Motorsports, I love all these guys. Again, every week it's a learning curve for all of us, and we're growing together, which is cool. I mean, you figure all or 3 of our 4 cars finished in the top 5 to a 4,000 I rating. That's pretty impressive. I mean, we're out here getting our asses kicked by a 4,000 I rating, and I'm okay with that. My wife, my kids, John, I love you, buddy. I know you're watching. He came up with my sayings this week. Aspen, sweet baby girl, it's time to go to bed. I know mom and dad are itching at you. Randy, Becky Bays are on the front of the car. Liz Fetters with Capturing a Moment by Liz. They're on the side of the car. I'm trying to think who else. Dallas Barkman. These guys are all great people. They're on my real life car. I put them on my iRacing car. By the way, guys, we're going racing this weekend. I think I got everything. I think my Racing Cowboy Motorsports team got everything shored up this week. So we're going racing this weekend. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully, I'm up here to tell you all about it next week. I think that's pretty much it. I really appreciate you guys. I appreciate the league. These guys are doing a really good job for the lack of experience as a whole, but it doesn't show.
Yeah, absolutely. Good group of guys, learning from each other, learning from the dominant guy, Jonathan Cofield. I mean, we talked to him about, some of these guys might be, a little down that they're getting stomped every week, but some of the other guys that kind of follow him or see him as he comes through the field when he doesn't qualify might be learning a thing or two, and maybe eventually they'll be able to, give him the bumper on the last lap.
He's our Kyle Busch.
And he's out there, he mentioned it himself. He doesn't want to be the extremely dominant guy, even though that's the way it's working out. He's starting at the back, giving some racing to some people. But the league's very welcoming of it. Everybody likes the guy, and
for sure.
It's a great thing to watch. Just everybody race and the way they've grown so far from week 2 when I started broadcasting it until now. Great group of guys here. But yeah, congratulations on a P3 and a potential lead takeover in the Dash for Cash standings. You're definitely going to be top 3 for sure. I would think so. And we'll see if we're talking to you again next week.
I hope so, man. I really do. I got a whole book of stuff for you. Have a good night, guys.
And that was Jeffrey Smith, our P3 finisher. I think that's going to be all for the night. We're going to get wrapped up. Nobody extra for tonight, just the top 3.
I'm going to try and get Jade in here, but we'll get him next week. I want to talk to him about just how much the league has progressed, but we'll catch him next week before the race, I think, if we can.
Yeah,
we'll try and progressing.
Jump in and get some admin input pre-race next week.
I think we're about halfway done, or at least close to it.
Yeah, we're 12 weeks through the 18 race regular season, and then I think there is 7 playoff races.
Yeah, so we're in the meat of the season, and I mean everyone's saying it. Even the drivers, they're saying their league it's getting better. Less cautions. Everybody's driving a lot better side by side, and it's not just us seeing it. The drivers are also catching on to it too.
Absolutely. Well, next week is when we head to, it was Michigan, wasn't it?
I believe we are going to Michigan.
Next week is Michigan. You will be solo up here in the booth for us, as I will be piloting our MC Motorsports Broadcasting 616 truck in a one-off. So I'll get on track with these guys and see what they're all about. I have put the wheels side by side with some of them in their ARCA recruitment races. They do have couple other nights of racing. I'll advertise it for them. They do have an IndyCar league starting up on, I think it's Thursday nights, and they have ARCA cars that they're putting out on Wednesday nights. So look for Worldwide Racing League recruitment races and hosted sessions for those. And we'll go ahead and bring our post-race results up. There we go. Jonathan Cofield, Kevin Stanley Jr., Jeffrey Smith, Nicholas Lamb, Charles Irwin are your top 5. Mark Cofield, Anthony Camarada do round out the lead lap.
And a story of what could have been for a lot of these drivers: Zach Panzarella, P8, Paul Brown, P9, Jeremiah Holt, Keith Ayers, 10th and 11th, Will Moore, 12th. We saw him make that late race move, but just couldn't get it with being a lap down. Javier Zapata, 13th, Matt McDonald, 14th, Reginald Harris, 15th, Ryan O'Toole, 16th, 17th, 18th, and 19th would be Brandon Redler, Jade Feathers, and Austin Mioto rounding out the end of the field.
Well, I think that is going to be it for us, unless you have anything else to add.
Not quite. Looking forward to doing the solo stream next week. Maybe you can be the one to beat Jonathan. Jonathan versus Jonathan next week.
Yeah, I love Michigan and the
home
way it
track?
races. My home track, so we'll see if I can have anything for the driver of that 58. Well, that has been the Worldwide Racing League from Nashville Superspeedway. We are MC Motorsports Broadcasting.